Dear scholars, we have been learning a lesson Papa Panov's Special Christmas. We came to know that how Papa Panov was sad thinking of his family members on the eve of Christmas. Further, how he read the Bible and later he dreamed. Further, we came to know that on the day of Christmas, Papa Panov was offering coffee and that cabbage soup to two of the people. Further part of the story we are going to come across through this video. So here we go with this line: the girl walked so slowly and quietly. So the previous sentence was someone was coming. Papa Pano was just waiting for Jesus to come his home and meet him. So he was just at the door and looking out. So what he saw, someone was coming, and who is that? Who was that? Here we go with this. The girl walked so slowly and quietly, hugging the walls of shops and houses, that it was a while before he noticed her. She looked very tired and she was carrying something. It is what the main character of the story, Papa Pano, was offering his cookings to the people passing by his home, and at that time he was waiting for Jesus to meet him. So what he found, the third person, that was the girl, and who was tired carrying something and not walking properly, taking help of walls of shops and houses. She was just walking slowly and quietly. Further, as she drew nearer, he could see that it was a baby wrapped in a thin shawl. There was such a sadness in her face and in the pinched little face of the baby that Papa Pano's heart went out to them. So here is the picture. You can see that girl was carrying baby. Papa Pano came to know that a baby wrapped in a thin shawl was there in her hands. And when he saw the face of that little baby, Papa Pano's heart went out. So he started feeling sorry for that child specially. Won't you come in? He called, stepping outside to meet them. You both need a warm by the fire and a rest. So Papa Pano offered them the warmth of fire and rest and invited that girl along with her baby. The young mother let him shepherd her indoors and to the comfort of the armchair. She gave a big sigh of relief. So she entered Papa Pano's house, sat on that armchair, and what is further? She gave a big sigh of relief. So as she was tired, walking unsteadily, sitting on that chair, she had a relief. I shall warm some milk for the baby, Papa Pano said. I have had children of my own. I can feed her for you. He took the milk from the stove and carefully fed the baby from a spoon, warming up her tiny feet by the stove at the same time. So as the days were of winter, Papa Pano warmed the tiny feet of that baby. Moreover, fed the baby that milk from a spoon. What is further? She needs shoes, the cobbler said. Who was that cobbler? That is Papa Pano. So Papa Pano said to that girl that your baby needed shoes. But the girl replied, I can't afford shoes. I have got no husband to bring home money. I am on my way to the next village to get work. And as the girl was helpless, having no husband to bring home money, and Because of that, especially, she was unable to purchase those shoes, those shoes, and accordingly, she was just stepping forward to find the work in the next village. Here is the picture of the shoes given. Further, a sudden thought flashed through Papa Panov's mind. He remembered the little shoes he had looked at last night, but he had been keeping those for Jesus. He looked again at the cold little feet and made up his mind. So, as those shoes he had been keeping for Jesus from the last night, what he did, he saw the little feet of that baby and made up his mind. That is, he took the decision what to do with those shoes. What he did, try these on her, he said, handing the baby and the shoes to the mother. The beautiful little shoes were a perfect fit. The girl smiled happily and the baby gurgled with the pleasure. It is what he gave those shoes to that mother and handed over the baby to, and asked that girl to try the shoes on that baby's feet. So the shoes were a perfect fit, and because of that, the girl smiled happily and the baby gurgled with the pleasure. That is what both baby and mother were definitely happy to have those shoes. You have been so kind to us, the girl said when she got up with her baby to go. May all your Christmas wishes come true. So, as the girl stood up to leave, what she did, she wished Papa Panov, that is, may all your wishes come true, Christmas wishes come true. So, it was a type of blessing given by that girl to Papa Panov. What's further, let us see. But Papa Panov was beginning to wonder if his very special Christmas wish would come true. And now he was thinking about his special wish. What was that? That Jesus was going to come his home and meet him. Perhaps he had missed his visitor. He looked. Visitor, that is Jesus. Perhaps he had missed his visitor. He looked anxiously up and down the street. So, becoming quite worried, that is anxiously, he was looking the street up and down. What is further? There were plenty of people about, but they were all faces that he recognized. There were neighbors going to call on their families. They nodded and smiled and wished him Happy Christmas. So, whatever people walking on the street, they were known people, and everyone out of them smiled and wished Happy Christmas to him as well as each other. Or beggars, some beggars were also seen. Or beggars and Papa Panov hurried indoors to fetch them hot soup and a generous hunk of bread, hurrying out again in case he missed the important stranger. So whenever Papa Panov was coming Papa Panov seeing the beggars, what he did? He hurried indoors and fetched them hot soup and a generous hunk of bread, and as well as he was just thinking and waiting for the important stranger, that is, he was thinking of Jesus. All too soon the winter dusk fell. So it was evening now. When Papa Panov next went to the door and strained his eyes, he could no longer make out the passers-by. No people was there to be seen now. Most were home and indoors by now anyway. He walked slowly back into his room at last, put up the shutters and sat down wearily in his armchair, tiredly. So being tired, he entered his home, closed the shutter, and sat on that armchair. So it had been just a dream after all. Jesus had not come. Then all at once he knew that he was no longer alone in the room. So what he had thought? What thought he had? That Jesus didn't come to meet him. But he also thought that he was no longer alone in his room on that day. This was not a dream, for he was wide awake. At first, he seemed to see before his eyes the long stream of people who had come to him that day. Many people visited, came and wished him, as well as took his offering. He saw again the old road sweeper, the young mother and her baby, and the beggars he had fed. As they passed, each whispered, "Didn't you see me, Papa Panov?" So it is whatever people met Papa Panov, they all wished him. But Papa Panov offered his cookings to the road sweeper, to the young mother and her dead baby. Further, the beggars. So these were the people helped by Papa Panov. And each of them, while living, said one sentence. What was that? "Didn't you see me, Papa Panov?" This was the important sentence, common sentence said by the visitors, that is the sweeper, that young mother and the beggars. Further, "Who are you?" he called out, bewildered. He was happy and said, "Who are you?" Then another voice answered him. It was the voice from his dream, the voice of Jesus. "I was hungry, you fed me," he said. "I was naked and you clothed me. I was cold and you warmed me. I came to you today. In every one of those you help and welcome." So Jesus, the voice of Jesus was heard by him. That was, the voice was saying, "When I was hungry, you fed me." So he offered his cookings to that sweeper, beggars, and also fed milk to that little baby. "I was naked and you clothed me." That was the help offered to that little baby. "I was cold and you warmed me." So it was for that baby as well as young mother. The voice was saying, "I came to you today in every one of those you help and welcome." What is further? Then all was quiet and still. Only the sound of the big clock ticking could be heard. A great peace and happiness seemed to fill the room. And further, overflowing Papa Panov's heart until he wanted to burst out singing and laughing and dancing with joy. So thinking of that voice, or listening that voice, he recalled that he met the stranger, he met his important visitor, or he met Jesus in the form of that sweeper, in the form of young mother, in the form of that baby, little baby, and all the beggars, to whom Papa Panov helped wholeheartedly. And thinking of all these things, Papa Panov thought to sing, laugh, and dance with joy. So he did come after all, was all that he said. And the last dialogue told over here by Papa Panov himself. So he did come after all. That is, Jesus came and met him after all. So it is what this story about. So what is the message of this story? It is service. Simply, service to man is service to God. So as he served for the people, God, that is Jesus, said him that he was there in the form of all the needy people you help. So simply, I repeat, service to man is service to God. So Keep in mind, everyone, that whenever we come across such a needy people, if we are able to provide help, we must do the same. This is what about the lesson Papa Panov's special Christmas. So the next video we will see the activities given in English workshop. I hope you will find the explanation helpful.